Did you know? The gentle gurgling sound you just heard is the soothing melody of flowing water. Water in our skin is also a part of nature, and when you feel that harmony between your body and Mother Nature, you will gradually heal. Through this new podcast episode, we hope to send you a message of living sustainably and loving resiliently. Now, let's begin this episode. Why is it that if you stay in a dried fish shop for a long time, you no longer smell the fishy odor? This question, which initially seems easy to answer, later brought me some valuable lessons from the book Behavioral Psychology by Chu Kien Quoc. Your mother sent you to buy fish. As soon as you stepped into the shop, you wrinkled your nose and exclaimed, "What a stench!" You tried to buy what you needed as quickly as possible to escape that pervasive smell. But then you remembered you had to go to the vegetable stall next door to buy other ingredients. You stood there, choosing this and that, until eventually you realized you were no longer bothered by the fishy smell. Most customers have an unpleasant experience with the smell of fish, but the fishmongers don't. They've become too accustomed to the smell of their livelihood. Logically, the fishy smell is a direct stimulus to the nose. The longer you're exposed, the more unpleasant it should be. So why is it that even without covering your nose, you stop smelling the fish after a while? Here, we can consider two reasons. The first reason is attentional bias asterisk. Attentional bias makes our perception focus more on what's currently on our minds rather than identifying potential underlying issues. It's like having to stand and choose other ingredients at the vegetable stall, redirecting your focus so you no longer pay attention to the fishy smell. Or the fishmongers are simply thinking about their daily goal, whether they'll sell all their goods or not, preoccupied with earning a living instead of the unpleasant fishy smell. The second reason is the mechanism of sensory adaptation asterisk. When a sense is stimulated by the outside world, the sensation arises and changes accordingly. This self-adaptation can be called sensory habituation. The mechanism of sensory adaptation is a natural biological process where human senses adapt to external influences to maintain optimal functioning. This mechanism allows us to perceive and react to changes in our environment effectively. There are many similar examples to the dried fish shop. For instance, when it suddenly gets dark and a light unexpectedly switches on, your eyes can't see anything, but after a few seconds it adjusts. Or, when you first step into a cold pond, your feet instinctively recoil, but after a few tries, you can jump into the water without feeling the cold anymore. Human adaptability and the ability to adapt are immense. We can adapt to various conditions, including harsh and difficult environments. The important thing is that instead of simply trying to avoid them, we need to find ways to adapt and solve problems. Leveraging this adaptation mechanism, when faced with difficult tasks, some people will grit their teeth and complete it without stopping. What if you stop midway? We can return to the dried fish shop experiment. If you keep going in and out, only staying for a few seconds or minutes, you'll feel very uncomfortable because the short time isn't enough to adapt. Following this principle, for tasks you dislike but still have to do, it's best to grit your teeth and finish them in one go. It might be exhausting, but compared to taking frequent breaks, it will save time and energy and ultimately bring a greater sense of accomplishment. However, this doesn't mean you should push yourself to the point of breaking to adapt. Be flexible, observe and listen to your body, and listen to your own heart. Every adaptation has its limits. Your body cannot always adapt. There will be times it defends itself. For example, in a dusty room, you'll feel your nose bothered and start sneezing uncontrollably. When you bleed, you feel pain and will try to stop the bleeding. You cannot force yourself to stay in that dusty room, nor can you ignore a wound and not stop the bleeding to complete a pending task. Acknowledging that the body's self-adaptation is a natural mechanism that helps humans survive and adapt to their surroundings is important. However, overexerting yourself or exceeding the body's limits can lead to serious consequences, affecting both physical and mental health. No matter how difficult things get, we can adapt. But in the process of adapting, observe and pay attention to the warning signs your body gives you. I recently read a saying that goes something like this: when our heart is wounded, it closes off, separates itself from the outside world, and doesn't want anyone to get close. But our body cannot remain silent. It begins to speak up, showing warning signs that something is wrong. Persistent headaches, unsightly pimples, dull skin, excessive hair loss, decreased vision because you cry every night, or occasionally sharp pains. These are how our bodies express the pain in our minds and remind you that you are neglecting to take care of yourself. Sometimes we are helpless in the face of difficulties. We cannot solve the problems in our minds, but our bodies always try to help us cope with those difficulties. Therefore, I hope you will observe and listen to your body to understand what is happening inside to find the best solution for that problem. Take time for yourself to think, to relax, and to help your heart heal.